28 days have passed since the beginning of this year. My question to you as a viewer of SSBC, how far are you with your goals? How far are you with what you have decided to do in this year? 3 days and then we conclude this month and we go to the second month of the year. Have you achieved what you have intended to do in this first month? If you are to value yourself, if you are to evaluate what you have achieved in this month of January, what will it be? And I want you to answer this question. So as we commence this program, we encourage all viewers of SSBC, especially the younger generation of South Sudan, to keep following up this program, because this program discusses issues of youth, discuss what young people are able to do. But before we introduce our guest, let's go for a short break and see what the control room has for us as we commence this 4th episode of the Youthful Youth.
Jameti pakur atung azul my keke na lejoma oh ipia dunya nduka yandring bera nya flower mama mekalir toga jipyo yukawa duk flower ga ipia dunya nduka yandring bera nya flower mama mekalir toga jipyo yukawa flower, no, I get the nervia, que vean quen, que te vir quen, flower, get your moin. How when you're at Kudu, and you're a gwen flower, dear, together die, bring in under my your moin. Yan gather jack in the moin, Yandu, if you do Yandu, Kayan ring better. Nya flower mama mekalir toga jipyo yukawa duk flower ga ipya dunya nduka yandring bera nya flower mama mekalir toga jipyo yukawa duk flower ga
kutingecha chirpyo yareton Kenya na kuti jane peto kungilui chirpyo wadeng joli ding Kenya na kuti, noje kaman kukum yoiken ne piukawa. Kanche bendung da kache bejal, kayen yarbia permanent resident. Una jati kenyandu, in the pure ninki, in the pure citizen. Yandu kaya vice kuye president, when yandu we are president. President, I call it you all available, no president.
Ya dunya nduka yandring bera, nya flower mama, mekalir toga jipyo yukawa, duk flower ga. If ya dunya nduka yandring bera, nya flower mama, mekalir toga jipyo yukawa, duk flower ga.
Kararam nyana kuti jinda jetting ran yop. Kararam nyal be moy dai mon kin jik bingi dai. Kararam nyana kuti in genu dien binme. Galada be moy dai mon kin jik bindoji.
Ipya dunya nduka yandring bera nya flower mama mekalir toga jipyo yukawa duk flower ga ipya dunya nduka yandring bera nya flower mama galir pyo ka chip pyo pyo kawa look for love girl.
A very good morning to all viewers of SSBC. This is the Youthful Youth program coming to you live from the SSBC headquarters in Nyakuren. And in the second season of the Youthful Youth, we brought to you a very important theme, and that is I choose to develop South Sudan. The question is, are you developing South Sudan? And if you are developing South Sudan, how are you developing that South Sudan? Have you came up with an initiative as a young person to contribute into the bigger picture of developing this country? In our fourth episode, we are delighted to host a very important guest, a very distinguished, young, brilliant leader in the education and in the academic sector. And we are going to engage in a conversation around the role of youth in fostering a society where education is valued. And we would love also to bring to your attention that this program is streamed live at our social media platform on YouTube, SSBC TV, as well as on Facebook, SSBC TV. Follow us and also give us your comment, give us your observation on the program. And if you propose us a guest also, you can write it in the comment side. Khamis Bol, you are our guest in the studio today. Welcome to the Youthful Youth program, and we are delighted to host you today. And this program, we came up with it to give young people a platform to showcase what they are doing in the country. And you are privileged to join the SSBC today. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Brother Tim, and thank you so much for hosting me today. I'm really grateful to be part of this platform. And I believe, the name of the program tells it all. That is a Youthful Youth program. So, looking forward to have this conversation, and also interact with let me say, with your viewers, if some of them will be, joining us later on, and so on and so forth. So I'm really happy to be here today.
Very good. Welcome on board. Before we delve into our conversation, in my introduction earlier, I said that today is the 28th of January. 27 days have passed from this first month of the year. And in the month of January, everyone is very excited about the year. People write down their aspiration, what they want to achieve. People write down their goals. If you are to rate yourself, what have you achieved in these 27 days as far as your goals are concerned?
Thank you so much. If I'm to start with what I have achieved in this 7th day of the month of January, one of my goals is to be, very careful, working on my health, because, it's really, really important, because there is a say that health is wealth.
Exactly.
So I have added more training days when it comes to this physical exercise, and also I have a regular checkup for my blood pressure. The reason why I'm doing that, because it's really important as young people also to be conscious about such things.
Exactly.
So not only working towards, the development and so on and so forth, and we are carried out, by the daily activities and forgetting about our own well-being. So one of the goals for my for this year, which is 2025, is to be very careful when it comes to focusing on the health. So this is what I can say.
Well-being. I do also have a similar goal, and I actually started it 2 weeks ago. I've told myself that at ATEM in 2025, you need to work on your physical appearance. And I've downloaded some application on my phone, and then from 9 in the evening in the house, I do physical exercise in the house. So I can rate that so far I have achieved 70% out of it, and I hope I continue as far as this goal is concerned. And the other thing also, when it comes to intellectual goals, I've also decided to join one of the institutes that teach people on branding. It's an area that I would love also to specialize in, and I've resumed this training online for the last 2 weeks, and it's going to finish on the 28th of February next month. So we are in the same track. So let's come to the conversation on the youthful youth. Your background is education, and as we are speaking, you are a lecturer at the University of Juba, and you teach in the School of Journalism and Communication. When it comes to the importance of vocational training center, I would love to give an example. When Calistio was appointed as the mayor of Juba, he came up with a policy, and that policy was to make all the shops and the business areas in the country or in Juba City to be more advanced. And then he imposed a law whereby all shops are required to design their entrance with these cladding materials. Immediately, people started to buy cladding so that they abide with the policy that the mayor came up with. So when the demand became very high, people now want to buy this cladding. Also, there was a demand for people, technicians, who will fix those cladding. And we began to see in the streets of Juba and in the shops, brilliant young people coming up with designs. And if you look at this design, it is because the young people who were designing those claddings graduated from one of the vocational training centers in Juba called MTC, Multi Training Center. So that opportunity provided for them an employment. If the people were not ready, if the student or the graduate of that school were not ready, I think we would not have gotten people to design those cladding for those people, right? So now we need to have a conversation on the importance of having these vocational training centers, given the fact that you come from an educational background. Some people don't like to go to school and to study in academic setting, but they like technical work. They like to be taught things that they can do with their physical hand. Looking at the society of South Sudan, the younger generation, what is the importance? Why is it important to have this vocational training, not only in Juba or in the different states of the country?
Thank you so much, Brother Tim. That's why it's very important to have such platforms to discuss these very, very important topics. Narrating, let me say, the story that you have just, ended. Let us go back a little bit, to Sudan when we were, one country. There was a very famous vocational training that helped a lot of young South Sudanese in Khartoum. The name is Don Bosco, or they call it Mari Yusuf. Exactly. So we have so many alumni from that, let me say, training institute. And if we want to develop this nation, if we want to develop South Sudan, we need to focus on different sectors, and education, of course, is one of them, and particularly not just only, let me say, formal education, but also informal education, or let me say, technical education.
Yes.
Because these are the skills that if young people are equipped with, then in less than about 4 to 5 years, they can be let me say, breadwinners for their families.
Exactly.
For example, if some of them can construct nice houses, if some of them can, as you mentioned, design something that can be attracted or consumed by other South Sudanese. These are the people that they'll be supporting their families. So instead of them going to formal school, they're now waiting, for some vacancies or job and so on and so forth. Some of them that are already equipped with the skills from this vocational training, they'll be able to create for themselves, let me say, chances.
Yes.
Let me give you an example of another young South Sudanese that I met earlier this month. He's, a car washer somewhere in Juba here, and one of the car that he was washing has some issues, and we had to go and look for a mechanic. Meanwhile, he also knows, the problem of that car. So after the mechanic arrives, he was able to identify it. I mean, that young boy, that young South Sudanese, he was able to identify that, oh, this is the problem, is A, B, C, D, and he was even having some tools with him.
Exactly.
And I asked him, I was a bit surprised, why don't you inform us before we go and look for a mechanic? And then he was like, these are the, let me say, the skills that I gained from Juba Technical Institute, because he's an alumni of that institute. But he had no chance to apply the knowledge or the skills that he has. But if we have that chance where these alumni are given, let me say, a platform or opportunity to apply the skills that they have, then in about 10 to 15 years, we'll be able to see the changes when it comes to, let me say, the labor work. We'll see more young South Sudanese are in different, let me say, technical work, mechanics, even in construction, carpenting, and so on and so forth. So I'd like to, to take this opportunity and maybe call upon, our, let me say, leaders to look into that, issue where these alumni from the vocational training are given a chance, to apply the skills that they have gained. So not just only providing the centers, but also doing that sort of like a follow-up, for them also to get that chance to apply the knowledge that they have gained.
Exactly. You have touched on a very important aspect, and that is the challenge. For example, you narrated a story of a young person who had the knowledge, the technical knowledge, but the environment did not favor him to apply the knowledge that he acquired from these vocational training centers. And this is pose a question into why do such challenges exist? In the same time, I want us to have another conversation around the stereotype behind these vocational training centers. I remember when we were in Sudan, when you fell in your school or in your academic area, your family will tell you, we will take you to vocational training center. So in other words, people assume that vocational training centers are for those who are dumb. Those who cannot read well, those who cannot memorize well, are the ones who are taken to those vocational training. And it has created a scenario whereby people always tend to avoid not to go to technical schools. Even though when you go to technical school, you will get the skill, and immediately that skill will provide you a job opportunity or will provide you something that you can earn out of it. How can we address or how can we redirect the thoughts of people that technical training is not only for those who are dumb? Even smart people can be that. What could be the message that people can hear?
Thank you so much. The stereotypes are made by people. And when they made those, let me say, ideas, or when they came up with this, analogy, they have their own interpretation. So what I'd like to say is that we also, we can also come up with a different stereotype, which is, it could be a positive one, for example. As I mentioned, if we now highlighted, let me say, the successful alumni or successful graduate from this vocational training
Yes.
into the society, so that the society also, see and visualize that, oh, these are the young South Sudanese from this vocational training. Now they are able to do this and that. So automatically, the way of thinking will start changing. And also the narrative around that vocational training, as you just mentioned it before, will also will be shifting a little bit. So it won't be negative anymore. So now people will be like, oh, I need to do this. Maybe I'll be able to take my daughter or my son to vocational training because I want my daughter or my son to be creative as, as I mentioned, we need to have that visibility, that we need to focus our, let me say, view or narrative into the best practices. As you mentioned it before, we can host or, have some interviews with those graduates from this vocational training that are running their businesses, that are already in the market, so that we change that narrative. Yes. Otherwise, it will just, continue. So it is us to change that. Exactly. No need for us to wait until maybe, as they said in Arabic, maktufil ayadi, and then wait until when? So we need to intervene and change that narrative so that also our people see the positive part of vocational training. Yeah.
I read somewhere on social media platform that in developing countries that just got their independence, they don't need academic institution, but they rather need technical schools so that they give them skills to develop the country. So in balancing between academic life and also vocational training centers, do you think that this say is true? Do we need to have these educational training centers and in the same time have the academic sector? Because now the world has advanced. Even there are some institutions globally, they will not ask you to provide a certificate, but they will ask you to prove that you have the skills that needed to deliver the work. What could you say on this?
Both are important.
Yes.
Formal, let me say, vocational training. They are very, very important because for a country to develop as well, needs research centers.
Yes.
Needs, let me say, think tank, where researchers seed and then they carry out their work that will benefit the society. On the other hand, it's also important to have vocational training, let me say, strong vocational training centers, and as I mentioned before, also providing a platform or opportunity for these graduates later on in the future. Let me give you an example of some place like Japan. In around 1920s, let me say 19th century, there were some young Japanese who were sent to Germany.
Yes.
To go and acquire technical
skills.
Let me say skills. And when they went back, they were able to apply what they have acquired from the country that they visited. So another example is that I believe there was an initiative even in South Sudan around 2012. There were some young South Sudanese who were sent to Malaysia for technical training as well for about 2-3 years, especially in the petroleum sector. Now, these young South Sudanese, majority of them are the backbone of let me say, technical team of the Ministry of Petroleum.
Very good.
And if we are having, let me say, if we are sending hundreds of young South Sudanese yearly, different sectors, let me say, and we are receiving, of course, if we are sending yearly, then after 2-3 years, we'll be also receiving similar to that number. Then in few years, we'll have a different South Sudan. Because, again, if they are provided with that platform where they are given a chance to apply the skills that they gain, then, of course, it is important to have, let me say, foreign workers in South Sudan. However, having these young South Sudanese, for example, in the market,
Yes.
will, of course, give us, let me say, that confidence as a nation. Will give us a confidence where we can depend on our own. So that's what I want to say. And also, as I mentioned, it's important to have these, let me say, well-experienced foreign workers as well, for us to have more skills labor in South Sudan. So
very excellent.
To wind up with this, in the US, for example, in 1950s, up to 1970s, the daily workers, especially in middle income or in lower income societies or neighborhood in the United States, these laborers were breadwinners for their families. So they work for hours and so on and so forth, but they don't have that paper, as you mentioned. They don't have academic, let me say, strong academic papers that
support.
Exactly. So that's why it is important, for example, for us as a society to have that kind of training in our country.
Exactly. Balancing formal and also vocational training.
Exactly.
Very interesting. Viewers of SSBC, this is the Youthful Youth Program, and this is the second season of the program themed I Choose to Develop South Sudan. We are delighted to have with us in the studio a young, brilliant leader in the academic sector who is with us today to discuss on the role of young people in fostering education department within the country of South Sudan. We have heard on the importance of having vocational training center in giving young people skills that make them more employable in the country. Let's go for a short break as we continue in this important episode. Viewers of SSBC, welcome from the short break. We would like to bring to your attention that this is the Youthful Youth Program, and in the second season, we are discussing the role of young people in fostering development in the country. And we would love also to tell you that we are streaming live this program on Facebook platform on SSBC TV, as well on YouTube SSBC TV. Follow us, give us your comment, share with us your ideas on how we can make this program a more prosperous and a more youthful program. We are delighted to have with us in the studio an academic expert, Mr. Khamis Bol, who is with us in the studio to discuss on youth and education. Khamis, once again, welcome on board to SSBC. And before we went to the break, we were discussing on the importance of having vocational training in the country. Now we want to shift. When you look at the world, people are advancing into technology. You see in some different universities across the world, people are learning electronically. Especially during the COVID-19, the entire world were forced to go digitally. So now, looking at South Sudan, we are just 13 years old since the independence of South Sudan. When we look at now that the world is branching into this technology, how far are we as South Sudanese when it comes to electronic learning?
Thank you so much. For example, when we were having this conversation, or let me say before, behind the scene conversation, I was mentioning something regarding our school, which is the School of Journalism, Media and Communication Studies, University of Juba. I'm happy that we have, let me say, about 100, young South Sudanese in that are graduating this year, and most of them are digitally oriented. So what I meant by that is that they are so close into today's technological development that is happening in the world.
Yes.
So 10 years, let me say, from now, South Sudan will be having a generation that is closer, let me say, regional. I'm talking regional, not internationally. Regionally, to the development in the continent, because now our people, our young people in South Sudan, they are more into technology, and you gave a very good example, which is during COVID. During COVID, I was in Japan for my postgraduate studies, and we have attended more than a year, online classes, because the situation forced us to do so. And now I can say that we have new, platforms such as Zoom. We have Microsoft also Teams and so on and so forth. These are the tools that, if, for example, you can attend from anywhere. If you are in South Sudan, if you are wherever, you can attend. Recently as well, I have seen some of the government officials also attending online,
Summit,
summit or
and
meetings and so on.
conferences.
So, in 10 years to come, if you are not, let me say, digital oriented, you might face a lot of
Challenges.
disadvantage. That's why it is very important to prepare yourself for that from now. And as a country, we have learned that, because during COVID, we tried to introduce that e-learning, but it was a little bit difficult. Let me take us to the positive part of e-learning. You have mentioned something very important when we were talking about what we have achieved so far in 2025. You are attending a class now, which will finish, or which will end next month on 28th.
Yes.
And you are in South Sudan and you are attending that class online. Now you will be able to focus on your other things. I have some of the friends also. There is a program, master's degree program that is being introduced by Indian Embassy in Juba. So you do that process, registration and so on and so forth. It is as exact as, let me say, a degree that you are receiving from the university. The difference is that you are attending this class online, and the other class is offline. So some of the program are 2 years, some of the program is only 1 year, but you are doing it while you are in Juba, and you are attending online class in India. So it is a chance for us also to widen, let me say, our way of thinking and so on and so forth. Not only focusing on, oh, now I don't have chance to go and pursue my postgraduate studies, I don't have chance to go and attend these, classes. You can do them online, and you will be awarded that master's program or degree program or whatever program. Some of the South Sudanese now are, doing their defense, for example, their PhD defense online. While they are in South Sudan, they are attending these, prestigious universities around the world. So I want to encourage us as young people not to lose hope when it comes to education. You can still be busy with your daily activities and also focusing on online learning. But at the same time, you need also to prepare yourself for that, because there are some technical things, if you have less information about, then it might be difficult for you. But of course, it's not bad to ask. If you have someone that knows, then you better to approach him or her, that how can I do this and that, and you'll be able to, assist when it comes to, e-learning.
Looking at the challenges that are associated with having e-learning in the country of South Sudan, earlier we have mentioned something to do that we are just 13 years old. When we look at the digital infrastructure, what challenges do you see? Access to internet is one of the challenges that people face. It is very expensive for you to afford access to internet to attend those online meetings, and also having access to digital facilities. For example, I have heard a complaint from one of the students at the same Juba University that we don't have the tools For example, a lecturer will ask you to submit a PDF document, and then you don't have a fund that support that application. And these are some of the existing challenges. For us to cope up with the technology, there are also some existing challenges. What challenges do you see, and how can we mitigate them?
As I mentioned earlier, of course, for you to ask for help, for some people, I know it's a bit difficult. But for example, if I don't know something and I know someone who knows it, then I won't hesitate to ask him or her. For example, I need your help in ABCD. And what I have realized is that some of our young people, they are a bit hesitant, maybe to be embarrassed, or I don't know the reason behind, but they are a bit hesitant to approach, for example, seeking for help. And I know that the challenges are great. However, our hope and our needs and interests also has to be, greater than the challenges that we are facing. So we need to be, let me say, thinking critically on how to tackle such things. University of Juba, there are some places where you are able to access internet within the university. And also, as I mentioned, if you know someone who is able to access internet, then if you ask them, maybe I need your help, there is an assignment that I need to submit, or there is an online course that I'm supposed to attend. It is 40 minutes, for example, length, or an hour online, learning session. Kindly assist. Some people might refuse, but at the same time, not everyone will deny you that, that chance. So you need to ask, you need to approach in a very, let me say, nice and polite way, so that you'll be able to be assisted. And it's very, very expensive, I understand. Some people are unable to afford smartphones, let alone laptops. Some people are unable even to, let me say, to log into their, let me say, accounts, because they are lacking these tools. But if you know someone, then that's really good. In addition to that, coming to these technical issues, again, can be solved by, by asking someone. If we say that, okay, I'm not going to ask, and let me wait until when? So you need to move. You need to take that step forward, because if you didn't take that step forward, then it will be hard. They say that opportunity comes for those people that are ready. Exactly. So you need to prepare yourself and be ready so that you'll be able to be assisted. So that's what I can say.
Very excellent. We have heard on the challenges that young people face in technology, and our guest in the studio also provided a very inside information that as far as technology is concerned, we are going very well as a country, and this is what we need, that our young people to be engaged also in the technology industry, as well as we leverage education in the country. Let's go for a short break as we continue in our program. Be reminded that this is the Youthful Youth program coming to you live from SSBC in its second season. Let's go for a short break as we continue. Viewers of SSBC, thank you for choosing SSBC as your best channel this morning. You have come to the right channel and the right program, the Youthful Youth. And if you are a young person joining us, this is your program called the Youthful Youth, coming to you in its second season, themed I Choose to Develop South Sudan. And we are discussing on the role of young people in fostering development. We are delighted to have with us in the studio Khamis Bol. Khamis, thank you for coming to SSBC, and we are getting interested in some of the knowledge that you are sharing with our viewers. So as we wind up, I want you to talk about the opportunities available to young people in education sector. We have seen a number of young people establishing learning institutions, hubs and centers to give education to people. In 3 minutes or less, what do you see as an opportunity?
As I mentioned, in the beginning of this program, it's really important to be engaged in the educational sector, and let me shift our focus a little bit on the opportunity that young people are supposed to focus on. I know you are one of the, the people that are having that platform, Calm Leaders Lead Initiative, which is one of the key platforms for our young people in South Sudan. As a founder, I believe you were able to disseminate, information regarding learning opportunities for young people in South Sudan by inviting key speakers and beneficiaries of, such program.
Exactly.
I want us as young people to focus on, let me say, opportunities, especially abroad opportunities. I know some people might say that how can we get these, and unless if people have connection and so on and so forth. As I mentioned, if you didn't take a step, it will be hard for you to get that chance. So I want us to focus on that because it will give us a chance to be exposed into the outside world, to be exposed in a different way of thinking. You'll be in a different learning environment, you'll be in different culture, and if we have that chance, then them coming back to South Sudan, they'll be able to contribute into the development of South Sudan. So I want us to focus on that, because even these young people that are now, let me say, coming up with these learning platforms and so on and so forth, they got these from the exposure that they had.
Exactly.
So if they had that exposure, the young people, then we'll be able to see more platforms that are being created. So I want us to have that. We have many programs, or let me say many scholarships. We have JICA, which is strictly for government officials. We have MEX, it is a Japanese scholarship, which is for everyone. We have Chevening, which is also for everyone. We have also some, there's also a Chinese scholarship, which is, some of them are open to anyone who is interested, and others are only restricted for government employees. So I want us to have a chance and approach and try to seek for these beneficiaries, the people that benefited from such programs, and try to get in touch with them. How can we do that? I like one of the young people, he approached me about 2 weeks ago, because I'm a beneficiary of one of the, a postgraduate studies opportunity. So he was like, he wants to apply for that, but he wants to know the procedures. Exactly. So I want us to have such mindset where we need to develop ourselves, and of course we'll contribute into the development of South Sudan.
Very interesting. And many young people are watching us. They will be able actually to tap into these existing opportunities. And we ask you to be available. If they ask us how can they access these opportunities, we can even direct them to you.
Sure.
So,
and even they can comment, as you just mentioned, on your platforms, and they'll get that answer.
Very interesting. So we are left with 3 segments of the program. Actually, in the last segment of the program, we have 3 other subsegments of it. So the first one, we ask our guest to define himself with one word. For example, I, ATEM Daniel, I define myself with the word abundance. I view life through the lens of abundance. I have a mentality that tells me the world is full of opportunities. The world is full with chances. The world is full with abundance everywhere. So whenever I wake up in the morning, the first thing that actually I visualize is abundance. What is that one word define Khamis Ball?
I think this is one of the surprise,
Exactly.
questions, because you were saying that there is a surprise segment that we are going to have. I might say that, let me say, I call myself, this might be 2 words in one, which is change maker. And the reason why I'm saying that, I'm a change maker when it comes to how I think, how I visual things, and how also I approach things. And of course, for you to be a change maker, you need to prepare yourself for that. And you need to be humble as a person. You need to humble yourself, learn, you know, and don't put, you know, limits for your learning. When you are well prepared, now you'll be able to share whatever you have learned. And without humbleness, you won't be able to read there. So, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do every day, shaping myself, working on myself, improving myself, so that I'll be able to contribute into development.
So Hamis Ball is a change maker?
Yes.
Other young people will actually come to you so that you help them to become also a change maker. The second part, or the second surprise, I will ask you a question, and I have a gift here. You will be qualified for this gift if you manage to answer the question properly.
Consider it I have already answered.
You have
then
to
just
answer
give it
it
to me.
first. So the question is very simple.
Yes.
How old is ATEM Daniel Dow? I'll give you 3 options.
Okay.
Yes.
35
years old, 36 years old, 25 years old.
35, 25.
35, 36, and 25.
You didn't mention 19?
I didn't mention
Okay,
any
you didn't
19.
mention 19.
You have only 3 options.
Okay, I have three options. Okay. So the gift looks really nice. And
Definitely.
I don't want to leave it here. I want to carry it with me. So please, okay, first, second, third. I'll go with the middle, the second option.
Which is?
36.
Perfect. The gift is yours.
Oh my goodness.
But you have
Thank you.
asked someone, sir?
I haven't, because...
Or from my physical appearance?
Not from your physical appearance. I choose to go, you know, with the middle, let me say, option. Because the first one and the last one, of course, that is, if you said 19, yeah, but 25, no. So 35, 36, and then 25. So I choose the middle
one.
Yeah.
Congratulations, the gift is yours.
There is a say like that, right?
Yeah, in
Arabic,
yeah.
yes.
So congratulations, the Youthful Youth gave you this gift. And this gift is presented from a travel agency called Al Muhajir. And there's a business card inside. You can reach out to them for more information. And they decided to award a gift to the guest of today in the SSBC. So you have seen also there is a black book that I'm holding in my hand. We call it commitment book. And we always ask our guests to sign this commitment book. You have introduced yourself as a change maker. So we want you to sign that you will remain a change maker, you remain a contributor, you remain a transformer to the society of South Sudan, not only in that education sector, but in all localities and all areas of your life. So we want you to sign, and if you can see, these are the previous guests that have signed. So you write the date of today, and then you sign the commitment book of the Youthful Youth program. And also write something that we can remember Hamis Ball with.
Okay.
As far as the program is concerned.
I hope that, you know, the God will give me more wisdom and to be more humble, so that I'll be able, let me say, to continue contributing in the development of this country. So, okay, I will not read out loud, but I'm now signing
the commitment book.
Yeah, the commitment book.
And once you sign it, I may have the privilege to read it before people, if I feel like. So, this is the Youthful Youth signature, asking our guests to sign the commitment book. And today, as an educationist, you are signing this book, and you are telling all the viewers that you remain committed to transformation, you remain committed to change, you remain committed to developing South Sudan, because you have chosen to develop South Sudan. Otherwise, you have not come actually to be with us today. Or what was it?
Yes.
Yeah. So people like to write few words, but because you are from the education sector, teachers always write more words. So I'll have the privilege actually to read it to the viewers.
Yes.
Yeah, from the teachers. And where's the signature? Very interesting.
Today is 28th
Yes.
of January.
3 days and we call the month to an end. Perfect. Thank you so much,
You're
Khamis
welcome,
Bol.
please.
Khamis Bol. Choose to continue to developing this beautiful South Sudan. Very interesting. And with this, we have come to the conclusion of this episode of today. This is the Youthful Youth program, and this is the 4th episode of the 2nd season, themed I Choose to Develop South Sudan. We have talked on the role of youth in education, and you have heard from Khamis, our guest. He talked about the importance of having vocational training in giving young people an opportunity to become more employable. And he has also highlighted on the importance of having e-learning in the sector of education in the country. And he also gave you some of the opportunities that are available to young people in the education sector. He has talked about existing international platforms that give young people skills. So we encourage you to reach out to us through this program if you would love to hear more about these opportunities that our guests have shared with us today. And with this, we have come to the conclusion of this 4th episode. Thank you for being our viewer, and see you in the next episode. Thank you, Khamis.
You're welcome, please.
Are you ready to do